sometimes stops. So in any event, here we land at the equipment landing page itself. So what we can see is our ultrasound equipment, both our general section as well as another section being the probe have been highlighted by the Edlore system. This is a bit of intelligence which I'll explain further. First and foremost, in this story, whether we're novice or expert, of course, the smartest thing we can do is first consume the repair history. Okay, we've already been through our safety measures. They were compulsory. We activate or access the repair history. We can see who's done what in the recent past, what did they do, what parts were replaced, how long did it take them, right? So once we get caught up, we know the state of the equipment and the history of the equipment. As expert, we probably may just go straight for the documentation. Okay, so from over here, what we can do is access this menu that we swipe out, and here we can review our device info just as a redundancy to make sure we have everything accurate, have the right piece of equipment. Okay, next we'll notice we have this preferences can be dropped down, and this is filtering our documentation. So if I uncheck this, please notice these these documentation and content counts will change. Okay, right? So now we have many more pieces of content: drawings, videos, animations, manuals, you name it. So what this is showing is that Edlore's first automatic filtering that it's done is it's getting rid of all of the bodies of documentation which weren't relevant. So straight away, our workforce member has in front of them only the pieces of documentation that are contextually relevant to this probe thermistor fault or error. Okay, so this equipment has passed this information probe thermistor error or fault out of itself, and that has gotten into Edlore. Edlore then filters all the documentation so that only the docs or content, again animations and video and such, that pertain to probe thermistor will be shown. That's the first level of filtering. Additionally here, if we go into, say, manual, okay, what we're going to do, we'll actually look for our probe, and we'll take this manual here. It's the full manual. Now this is originally hundreds of pages manual, which, as we can see, Edlore will filter down. Oops. There we go. So Edlore has filtered this down to just the pages pertaining to probe, mentioning probe. So we've saved a lot of loitering time on behalf of our workforce member. Additionally, annotation capabilities are here. This goes a long way in terms of Edlore. Edlore has been really praised, I should say, in terms of its documentation, content, architecture. So everything in Edlore is kept at a model level. And what this means for you, 1 second, I apologize. Scan this one more time. Okay, close this guy back up. Okay, so as I was saying, in terms of data architecture, Edlore has been really well praised, and this ties in again to your documentation. So here, where we have manuals and a workforce member goes in and makes some annotation, what this is going to do is going to allow for a workforce member in another region to access the same body of documentation with the same notes. So again, from a regulatory standpoint as well as a knowledge standpoint, it's a real win. This documentation architecture. So moving on, all of these you'll notice documentation here were in manuals, right? If I go in drawings, similarly you'll see these are broken down by zone. Now you don't have to make use of these zones. You can just make use of a general section, which is an entire piece of equipment. But from a 3D standpoint, which I'll show you next, it's nice to have the content broken up by zone. So what we'll do first is we'll close this this left menu, and we'll see that the general section, which is going to be our 3D, we're going to jump in and just review this model briefly. Okay, So here we can rotate the model around, we can explode this apart, and in looking around, let me just explode them some more. Okay, what we have is a nice exploded view of the ultrasound. We can zoom in, zoom out, you name it. Now we'll notice also we've got a part here that's been highlighted. Now this is our whole model. Okay, what I want to do is just back out. I want to show you the zone itself called probe. Okay, so Edlore's also highlighted this. And this again all ties back to the fault or error that we got from the equipment. And this is a legacy piece of equipment, mind you, not embedded. So we'll grab this this section here, and what we can see is Edlore is taken down to a zone or component level and is showing our workforce member what part is the problem by highlighting it. Okay, and again we can zoom, we can explode, you name it. Right? Zoom in on that. Additionally, we can click our Okay, so we'll enter the probe section now. And I just wanted to see how what Edlore's done is separated the model. Now is showing just the component which is in trouble. Again, we can zoom this guy apart, explode, and get a nice view as well. You'll notice, so Edlore's highlighted this in neon. This is based on the metadata that's available on the 3D file, how we're able to know what part to highlight. Okay, and additionally, we can double tap on this, and this gives us some data call into the ERP. So here we can see what's the part name and number, as well as how many do we have in inventory. If there were none, automatic ordering or various protocol can be set up. We also get a parts history. So when's the last time this actual part or component was replaced? Then lastly is notes. It's more of a static field. So this can show the OEM notes as well as any tacit knowledge that's available for this part or process. Okay. So at this stage, if the 3D, the documentation has still not helped us, what we're going to do is leverage the troubleshooter. Okay. So in here, we've basically taken and, whoops, double clicked on you, sorry about that. We basically take the troubleshooting knowledge tree and extract that and put this into an easy to consume if this then that scenario for the workforce. So here what we're going to do is we're going to see a list of trouble. Once we can discern which of the trouble is ours, we're going to go in, we're going to indicate that. We'll ask for the cause. Okay, so here we have the cause. When we have the written title, we can drop this down and have some written description about this. Okay, now we want to toggle over and we want to actually see the remedy. So at any cause or any remedy, you're able to toggle back and forth between the two. Here we'll get to the remedy. So here's my remedy. Again, as you notice, I can toggle back to the cause, and I'm being handed this instruction in written format. So the media is written. At the top, notice we have written, video, and animation. So what this is going to allow me to do is to stay at the same exact cause, okay, or I'm sorry, remedy, probable remedies, but consume it in video format rather than written, okay. So as a video, I can extract contextual relevancy from this that a human would exert a certain posture or force, so there's things there that we can extract value-wise. If again, the human doing the video, maybe their hands get in the way or there's some obstruction of parts view, we can call for the animation of the same exact remedy, but again, just changing the form of media that we're consuming the remedy in. So we can, again, toggle to the cause, staying at animation, video, written. So a pretty useful feature, the troubleshooting. You can make use of these media containers as you desire. Okay. So at this point, if our workforce member has had a little bit of trouble, and even with the documentation, the 3D, and the troubleshooting wizard has not been able to bring the equipment back to a proper working order, what we're going to do is call for support. Okay. So this is Edlore has written similar to a FaceTime. So at this point, folks, if if our workforce member has not been successful with the documentation, okay, with the 3D, accessing inventory, using the troubleshooter, all of these have not helped, then what they're going to do is a last ditch effort is support. So this is a proprietary peer-to-peer audio video transfer live